And
there we go.
There we go, folks. We are now live. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
For
Happy
some reason,
Wednesday.
I can't seem. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to go up here and get to my actual side. All right, now we go. Now I can see the chat. All right.
Good.
So happy Wednesday.
Good
Welcome
to see
to
you all.
Matrix Talk. I'm Phil.
I'm Tina.
And this is our whiteboard.
That's the whiteboard.
Taking the place of Kevin Polk today. So Kevin, there you are, buddy. That's the best we could do for you today. Kevin's still under the weather, so he sends his best to all of you, and he'll be back with us soon.
All right, Kevin. We'll draw a picture of him.
Yeah, we're going to put a picture of Kevin on there. There you go. And there's Kevin, and he's having a smiley face kind of.
That's the extent of my drawing.
Very nice. Excellent. I love it.
If you guys can hear us, pop a hi in that chat box.
Yeah, so some of you already weighed in. Sarah's here again, and Kimberly, Reagan, Kathy from Norwich.
You can click the follow. Look, I did this yesterday. Click the follow button above.
Yep.
Or click the green button below if you want to buy some Matrix Talk swag or learn about becoming a certified ACT and pro-social Matrix trainer.
Cool thing to do if you want to do that.
Cool things to do in the chat box.
So all of that is down there below. You can look at the swag. You can also see other people who have become ACT Matrix certified trainers. We have a growing list of folks, and we like to put them up there. They're all over the place, all over the world right now.
In all different fields, too.
In all different fields. So the Matrix is for everyone. That's the way that Kevin drew it up many years ago, and it continues to be our quest to get it out into the world, which is why we do Matrix Talk 3 days a week. So some of you may be new, and like Tina said, chat in, let us know where you're from. Always like to know that. And what we traditionally do, we will wait until 1:05 because everybody's got to come in, go to the back of the room, see what kind of goodies are there, get your coffee.
Find your parking space.
Find your parking space.
Get a pen.
Get a comfy chair, right up front or in the back, depending on, where.
Get your water.
Go. Yeah, get your water.
Fun. Matrix Talk mugs.
Sporting the swag, and we both have. Tina has the original Matrix.
I have the original Matrix Talk.
And I have the V-neck version on, which is cool. And then in the back, you can get the question, can I show you my point of view?
Yeah.
And there's Tracy from Kansas. Welcome.
Hello, Tracy.
Welcome. We're just kind of hanging out now here on a Wednesday. And very nice day up here in Philadelphia. Yeah, very nice.
It started out a nice day for us, but then it got kind of gloomy and started to rain.
Ooh, yeah, we're going to get dry weather, I think, for the next day or two.
Yeah, but as my daughter now knows, she said, "Why does it rain?" And I said, "Well, because the plants need the rain to grow." So now she says, she calls the hostas the pastas.
Oh yeah, the pastas, right?
The pastas say thank you for the rain.
Oh, very nice.
Yep, the pastas say thank you.
She's got it. She's got it. She's like a little Thich Nhat Hanh now, kind of.
She only have to tell her things one time, and she's on to the next. She adds it to her bank, and she's on to the next.
Don't I wish I could remember stuff the first time?
Right?
Man, you get older, and that you go, what was that again?
Yeah, and thankfully she trusts me enough that I really only have to give her one answer.
Yeah.
She goes, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, they just want an answer. People think you got to go into long lit. You just say something back to them and
give her an answer, and then
most of the time that's okay.
Probably until she's like, I don't know, 7 or 8, and then
hopefully
nothing I say will count.
Well, hopefully she'll hold off until then.
Right.
But if she's your daughter, Tina, I got a feeling that she's going to be hitting that a little earlier than 7.
She's going to be telling me the answer.
Listen, Mom. Here's the way.
Yeah, it's okay because I'll just say, "Oh, interesting. Where will you put that? Where will you put that on your matrix?
Yeah.
Where does that go?"
And then she'll say, "Don't you matrix?"
Right. Yeah. Got
that. All right. Hey, there's Becky from Missouri. Hey,
hi,
welcome.
Becky.
All right. So we're almost there. A couple of seconds, and we'll get started. And we have a bunch of people on, and a bunch of people signed up. So cool. Great.
We can talk about psychological flexibility.
Oh yeah, that's what the That was the subject today. Yes.
Yep.
Very good. Well, good thing that we'll have a few things to say about that then.
We have a few.
Yeah, just
sometimes we talk about it.
All right. 105. So we can now officially begin. And we would like to start the way we always begin all of our Matrix Talk webinars by asking if it's okay if we show you folks out there the point of view that we use. And so would it be okay if I show you the point of view? And then now here's where the audience participation part is, where you would chat in and you would say, well, give us a thumbs up or a yes or, something along those lines. I would say to nod, but we can't see you from where we're at.
Give us a grunt.
When I used to work with teens, they would grunt and I would take that as a yes. Fine. Because they were still sitting in the chair. If they get up and they leave, that's a pretty clear sign.
That's a no.
They don't want to hear anymore.
We got some yeses.
All right. So cool. So we're ready to go. So we are now going to be using our virtual whiteboard. And Tina's going to be using that. Are you going to bring that up, Tina, or do I do that?
So hover over the whiteboard screen and click Make Focus Screen, and it should expand
all right. Let me see if I can pull. I'm hovering, but there's nothing showing up. So let me see. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Focus screen.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. Oh, awesome. And now, as you notice, we have now slid into the lower left.
Yes.
We're still here. We just got smaller. So this is our diagram. And so you would have that diagram up. And by the way, if those of you, anybody's interested, what Tina is using is she's using something called Notability, which she has attached to her laptop, I think, right?
I do, my MacBook, yeah.
Just by a nice little writing for, when you're doing virtual stuff, which is, what we're all kind of doing these days.
Yeah.
It's a nice way to show the matrix. So we got the board up and we've got permission, so we can get started. So the way that I would begin then, continuing, is I use this diagram that forms 4 quadrants. And in the lower right, I would write the question, and you already see it, who's important to you? So I would ask you folks here on the webinar with us, who's important to you? And then you can just chat in down the bottom, who is important to you? So I like to always put down my wife is important to me.
We got a wife.
So anybody else out there have someone who's important to them? Or someone's, could be more than one. Kimberly says partner. All right. Got a partner up there. Significant other. Anybody else got one? What do you think, Becky? You got a who out there that you want to share with us? You have wife. We have partner. Husband. Oh, the macaw is back. Okay. Cindy says her husband, her macaw, her buy nothing group. Nice. Buy nothing group. Oh, yeah. Kids, friends. Husband makes the board a couple of times here. The dog. All right. Pets. Becky says clients, family, and puppy. All right. Okay. That's a pretty good list.
Good list.
I like that. All right. So now that we've had that, you just kind of jot that down just the way you can see here. And then the next thing we're going to do is we slide over there to the lower left quadrant. And this is where, I would say, well, we all have yucky stuff that shows up on the inside of us, like stuff like fear. And we put stuff like that in the lower left quadrant. So this is really kind of the stuff that keeps you up at night, folks. Or wakes you up. So can you think of any other yucky stuff like fear that shows up inside of you or other people? So usually we know there's a delay, so we'll wait and you guys will chat something in about some, Tina calls it hard stuff too. Hard stuff, yucky stuff.
And yeah, we have been saying, the stuff that keeps you up at night or wakes you up at night.
Yeah, we've been on that rant for a while.
We have. Yeah.
So what do you think? Oh, medical issues. Okay, Laura. Yeah, medical issues. Oh, yeah. That could wake you up. Oh, Becky, going for imposter syndrome showed up early today, Tina. Yeah. Oh, and also too much to do. Too much to do can show up. Anybody else got one? See, when I hear too much to do, I also go along with this not enough X, Y, or Z, time, resources, you name it. So, yeah, fear. You got some thoughts showing up. What else, folks? Yucky stuff. You don't want it. It shows up anyhow. I always like to say anxiety. I think anxiety
is a popular one.
That's another one that can show up in the middle of the night too. Anxiety.
Loneliness.
Kimberly said the same thing. All right. Yeah. Replaying negative events. Ooh, yes. Yes. As if they weren't enough fun the first time around.
Right.
Pain, Cindy says. Oh, yeah. Pain. Definitely.
Pain. Yesterday we were talking about imposter syndrome on a different workshop, and
yeah, that's right. You were doing a different one. Yeah.
We came up with like some despair and hopelessness.
And Becky says uncertainty. Yes. Certainly a good bit of uncertainty that shows up in folks.
Yeah. Cool. That's a good list.
Yeah, and some of the other, basic stuff too, like anger, is something that I hear a lot.
Frustration.
Yep. Stuff like that. So, yeah, stuff like that. So we have our list of yucky stuff now. And now we're going to go up to the upper left. And this is kind of where we're going to put up there are behaviors. And these are the things that we would see you or someone else doing. Oh, Becky, Kimberly also added doubt. So let's put doubt down there. So now we're going to look at the behaviors that we see you doing. So in the upper left, we're putting those behaviors that are meant to reduce or eliminate that yucky stuff that we were just chatting about down below. So for example, going back to my example of fear could show up on the inside of you. And on the outside of you, you might be involved in some behavior that will look a lot like, running, for example. So for example,
I'm out of here.
I'm thinking yesterday, I was in my backyard and the neighbor that I didn't know, the dog got loose. So the dog came charging toward me, barking, and fear showed up inside of me. Now I did something a little bit different than run because I figured I was not going to be able to outrun the dog. So I stood my ground and I yelled really loudly at the dog. But I was certain of yelling to get away from my fear at that point in time. There was no doubt about it. So the dog barked at me, and I yelled at the dog, and we just kind of had a standoff there for half a second. So stuff like that. So what else might we see you do?
Favorite away moves.
You get that yucky stuff. It shows up, and you bebop up there, and you start doing stuff like running or yelling. Pain, right? So pain, we're going to do something to get away from pain.
Oh, I'm going to take some Tylenol.
There you go. Yeah.
Last night I actually slept on the couch because sometimes that helps my back.
That could help. Okay, Becky's got a list here. Sleeping. Yeah. Riding your bike. Working. Oh, yeah. Working 12 plus hours a day. Yes. Yeah, that darn 24-hour thing. You just keep coming up against it, right? Yeah. And these are just things that we all do all the time, folks, by the way, right?
Yep.
We're not saying that they're good or bad. We're just putting them down there just the way they are. That's the way they show up, and that's what we do. So, eating chocolate and drinking a glass of wine. Oh, I like that combo, Barbara. That's pretty cool. Chocolate with the wine.
Oh, there's the best combo.
Yeah, Laura's going to go for just a straight up cry. That's popular. I waste time on my iPad. Oh my gosh, Becky.
Yep.
Yes, hours and hours, right? On YouTube, and the next thing you know, you're gone down the rabbit hole. Laura says talking with friends. Yeah, you'd be talking with friends to kind of reduce some of that yucky stuff. Music, certainly, absolutely great idea. Listening to it, playing it. Yeah. All these things are just, these can be used to reduce or get rid of or lessen that yucky. Oh, Facebook. Oh, yeah. Good old Facebook. Oh, disappear into the spare room. Yeah. Remove yourself, right? Meditate. Oh, yeah. Meditate, certainly. Yep. All these things can be very useful away moves.
Workable.
Depending on the situation, right?
Yep.
All right. Wow, we have filled up that upper left.
Did.
Cool. So now we're going to slide over there. Oh, TikTok and Grey's Anatomy. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Your favorite binge watching thing, right?
Those silly TikTok videos. And now they've taken over the Instagram Reels and you just get stuck.
I know.
I just get stuck.
And there's some good stuff on there, too.
I don't know.
Well, when you're watching it, you're going, this is good stuff. And the next thing you know, you're watching more good stuff. And, oh, wow.
And it just keeps giving you more.
It's great.
You liked that? Here's some more.
All right. So, yeah. So, and now over in the upper right, we're going to put behaviors that are meant to bring us closer to those important people that we just talked about. So, for example, for my wife, well, you know, we just had lunch together. So I would eat lunch with my wife would be something that you would see me do. I just did it. So what other kinds of behaviors would you see people doing that would move them closer to their important people or yourself, or, you know, either way? What do you think? We got the partner, a husband, macaw. Cindy's macaw there. Your kids.
The buy nothing group.
The buy nothing group. Something we might see you do to move closer to those date nights. There you go. All right. Kimberly says, communicate. Becky, go for a walk with my husband and pup. Yep. All right. All of these moves you'd be using in the service of moving closer to these people. Schedule no screen time. Ooh, yeah. Post cool free stuff. Ha-ha. Attend joyful training. Oh, yay. Now, Laura Smith, bake together. Nice. Tracy says, watch shows, play games, travel. Cool. All right. Well, Tina, looks like a pretty good list, huh?
Yeah, we filled that up.
Yeah, we sure did. So now we're going to, also notice that some away moves can also be, yes, tour. Yes, Kimberly, you have just stumbled upon one of the truths, which is any behavior can go on either side of the matrix, right? So we could be exercising to move toward our health. We could be exercising to reduce stress. You know, it's the same behavior, but we're just kind of doing it for different purposes. Is really what it comes down to. Yep. Cool. Very good.
The horizontal line just represents the direction that our behaviors take us.
And we're always behaving, folks. That's why those two arrows are there at the end, because we never stop behaving. You're always doing something.
And there's no good, bad, negative, positive. They just are, and sometimes they work.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now we come to the center, and we're going to write a word in. Tina's going to write a word in. And the word that Tina's going to write in is noticing. Right there in the middle. Oh, I love it. Big. Nice. That's terrific. Yeah. So then that is, we might have the opportunity to notice who and what's important, yucky stuff, away moves, and toward moves. So what do you think, folks? Do you think that you might have an opportunity, say, kind of within the next week or so, to notice toward moves, away moves, important people, yucky stuff? What do you think? Might you have the opportunity to do some noticing about this stuff?
I would say yes.
Yes. Tina says yes. Anybody else? I'm loving that green. It's like popping. Cindy says yes. Sarah says yes. Awesome. All right. Cool. Alrighty. All right. So now we are not going to stop there, folks, because there's another loop that goes with this. Oh, more people popping in with yes, thumbs up. Terrific. So now Tina's going to come up with a different diagram, very much like the first one, except that there's going to be a difference this time around. And the difference with this one is now we're going to be talking about being and working with other people. That is, when we are with others, we have what is called a shared purpose, or we call it a shared purpose in the ACT matrix world. And we write those shared purposes down in the lower right quadrant. So, for example, we have a shared purpose for being here today for this webinar. So what might that be? What might have brought you to the webinar today?
We came to show the matrix.
We always have. That is right at the top of our list. We will take any opportunity to show the matrix to someone. We even have it on the back of our shirt now. Can I show you my point of view? That way, if somebody sneaks up behind me, they see my t-shirt, they can ask, hey, what's with the question? Oh, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny you asked. Can I show you?
We'll have to see if that actually happens, you know? I'm going to wear that around.
Yeah, I'm going to, yeah, we'll.
Right? That's going to be like a little experiment to do.
I'm going to order some more and just wear them every day and see what happens.
If somebody taps you on the shoulder and say, what's with the question?
Yeah.
Oh, show me. Or they just might go, show me, right?
Yeah.
All right. And Sarah says you're going to share it as well. Terrific. Okay. So anything else, folks?
What's our shared purpose?
What brought you here today, right? And we can have more than one purpose. The idea behind a shared purpose is we're just asking people, you know, well, what's this about? Why are we here? And you could be here for lots of different reasons. And it might not necessarily be relative to this webinar you started out there, but, you know, if you're a part of a couple or you're in a business, more practice with the matrix, Kimberly says. All right. Becky wants to learn about the matrix. All right, cool. So you've come to the right place. Yeah. Somebody else, help clients. Okay, Barbara says help clients. Sarah says to learn. Oh, Reagan was brought in by the title of the seminar, Tina, which is Targeting Psychological Flexibility. So that's what, oh, very cool. Someone actually showed up to learn about that. That's cool. So that title worked.
That title worked.
See, folks, the purpose of the title, if you're ever doing anything, little slide over to business here for just a sec, is to get people to sign up to come to your webinar. And that was, you know, we wanted to talk about this today because we think it's an important topic to talk about. But that's the whole purpose of the title is to, oh, I see that and I want to go check that out. So I'm glad that you showed up. So, great. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it. So there could be lots of different shared purposes. Like I said, you're with a couple, there's a shared purpose. You know, what might be the shared purpose of a couple? Just for giggles right now. So what?
Yeah, like relationship.
Yeah, relationship, right? And, you know, if you're at work, it could be, okay, how we got to get the widgets out. How are we going to do that, you know?
Yep.
Productivity, something like that.
Collaboration, productivity.
Yep. Cool. So once we have that conversation, spend a little bit of time on that. Now we can go over to the lower left where we have a special brand of yucky stuff, which we call the social yucky stuff. This is the special brand of yucky stuff that shows up inside of you or other people when you are with others, right? When you're being or working with them. And we're going to write those down in the lower left.
What shows up when we get together?
What kinds of interesting yucky stuff shows up when you're with other people? Ah, there we go.
Start us out.
Tina went right to the fear, right? And then she added fear of judgment, right? Could be other different fears too, or different feelings, different thoughts. Imposters. Oh, wow.
And big.
Whoa. Yeah. You know, there you go.
Yeah, I'll do it big like that too.
I love it. Imposter syndrome. Yeah. Can't get enough of that imposter syndrome, man.
No.
Oof.
Nope.
It's big.
It doesn't go away.
It must be like in the water or something. Comparison, Sarah says. Yeah. Okay. So if like a fear of comparison, or maybe that you're comparing yourself to other people.
Yeah.
Which is such a wonderful thing to do, right? We're always comparing. Yeah. And you always come out on top when you compare yourself to other people too, don't you? Yeah.
Yep. I don't.
Nah, that doesn't
don't know. Maybe you do.
That doesn't happen in my world either. Right. Okay.
And we're taught comparison from such a young age, even in math class, right? What's bigger and smaller?
Oh yeah, you're taller than me. You got more problems done than I did. You know, that kind of stuff, right? You got your work done faster than me.
One of these things is not like the other.
There you go. All right, so we got some fear, we have some comparison, imposter syndrome. What other kind of social yucky stuff? I'm going to go with jealousy, Tina. I think that can show up. I've seen that happen on more than one occasion where jealousy shows up. Anybody else got a favorite social yucky stuff thing that they might show up or has shown up? And again, these are the very much like with the first loop, right? Except that we're really talking about, self-doubt. There you go. Right. Self-doubt. We're really talking about how it's showing up relative to the shared purpose stuff, that whatever you're pulled together to do, you might notice that when you're there, that this stuff could be showing up, or even if you're thinking about being there, you don't necessarily have to be there. Yeah. Self-doubt. And again, I'm going to go back to anger could show up, which, conflict can certainly show up in a shared purpose situation. So anger could be something. A negative body image on Zoom. Oh, there you go. Yep. Body image, negative body image. Yeah. Lots of cameras off, right?
Yeah. I was going to say fear of turning the camera on.
Yeah. There you go. That's a good one. Okay. So we have social yucky stuff that we have now listed. And now we're going to go up to the upper left, just like we did before. And we're going to be then talking about the social away moves, right? So in that upper left, right, many of us have our favorite away moves to get rid of that yucky. So can you think of an away move one might do like in a social setting? And then we'll just write them down the same way we did before, right? Turn the camera off. There you go. Yeah. Perfect. I can go one better. Don't show up. The low-hanging fruit of this is to just don't even give it a shot. Yeah, there you go. Shutting down and staying quiet. That's another one, right? So not just turn the camera off, but you could mute yourself too. Cancel the plans. Don't make the plans. There you go. Cancel plans. Yep. Just like that. Made the plan. Now I'm going to cancel it. Or just don't even make them. Correct. Yep. Very cool. How about checking your phone? Let's put that one down there. Let's check the phone. And Cindy goes, I either fight too hard or back too far off. All right. So there you go. Right. So that's the two sides of the same coin. So you're going to fight too hard or get in there and do a lot of hooting and hollering, or you just go quiet, right?
How about gossip? That's
very popular.
And blame.
And then complain. I think complain is probably the number one thing that people do when they get together in a social setting.
Yes.
As an away move.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, try to do everything myself. There you go, Becky. Yep. Just give it all to me. I'll just give it to me. Yeah, I'll take it all. That's it. Don't respond to emails. Oh, yeah. Don't respond to them now. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to say, I'm going to be checking my emails during this meeting here. I'm going to just...
Yeah, open another tab.
Yeah, open another browser. Absolutely. All right. Okay, so cool. So we got a nice, good list of social yucky stuff, and now we're coming around to the shared purpose moves. So in the upper right, we write the behaviors in the service of the shared purpose. So some of those are going to be general, like we always like to put down communication down there in the upper right. Because if you're going to move toward any kind of a shared purpose, it really needs to begin with some communication. By communication, I mean just basic talking and listening. And Tina, as you can see, is adding, we're going to do that with respect, right? And we're going to be asking questions. Yep, there you go. Yeah. Okay, so what other toward a shared purpose do you think people might be doing that would move them closer to their shared purposes? Any other common kind of behaviors? And here we're just listing, again, common, everyday, regular old kind of behaviors. I like to always put in here show up too.
Yes. The world is run by people who show up.
If you don't show up, it's really hard. It just gets really hard. Cindy says pause before responding. Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, maybe pause and notice.
Yeah. That could be, we could use that. Stay present. There you go. Yep. Oh, Barbara, boy, be non-judgmental. Yes. Okay. Other things that we would like to put in there is part of a shared purpose could be assigning tasks. It's people kind of either assigning or volunteering. Okay, I'll take this part or I'll take that part. The idea of like who's going to do what, so that once that meeting or is over, people kind of walk away with some idea.
There's a plan.
What's to be doing?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a meeting where you kind of walked away and it went, well, what are we supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
Ever had a situation like that out there, folks?
What's the point of that one?
Yeah, there you go. Or have you ever had a situation where you walked away and said, well, what was that all about?
Or that probably could have been an email.
Yeah. We just wasted a whole hour here. We could have just right. So stuff like that, folks.
Becky added listen again. Yep.
So now once we've done that, we're going to come once again. We are going to come right back to the center, and we're going to draw that circle again. Hopefully, Tina's going to pull out the green. I love the green, and we're going to write the word noticing once again. Yep. Kimberly, you're absolutely right. Taking others' perspective. So do you think you're going to have an opportunity, folks out there, to notice shared purpose, to notice social yucky stuff, social away moves, or shared purpose moves in the next week? Do you think that you might have an opportunity to notice that? What do you think?
I say yes.
Tracy says yes. All right. Okay. Anybody else? Maybe? Yeah, one yes. That's cool. Yeah. So you might have an opportunity to know. There we go. We got some yeses coming in. Terrific. All right. So now we've done the 2 loops of the matrix.
We did.
And so now we'll go back up there. And what's the title of this again, Tina?
This is the ACT matrix targets psychological flexibility.
And you are here watching the ACT, doing the ACT matrix, and you just did it with us. So we just showed you what is known, what Kevin and I call the basic form of the matrix, which is the 2 loops.
Yep.
The first loop that we did is called the me matrix, and that was for the individual, right? So we did that one for the individual. And then we went ahead and did that one for the group, which is called the we matrix, or what Kevin called it very early on, the pro-social matrix. So that's the basic form. And we like to show the basic form. And now today we wanted to kind of hone in a little bit on psychological flexibility because we've been looking to kind of make things clear. We're always looking for clarity. And today we thought we would address the issue of psychological flexibility, which is what is targeted in the matrix. So Tina's going to bring up another diagram. And so, we want to come back to this. We are with the target of the matrix. Okay. And is going to be,
draw a target.
has always been, right there in the middle, okay? Which is, otherwise we call that, the target is psychological flexibility, folks, and that's coming out of ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy and training. And I will basically just kind of give us a little bit of a working definition today of that, which is the ability really to notice what's going on inside of you, what's going on outside of you, and where your actions are taking you. And I like to add, even in the presence of obstacles. Okay. That's where I think the rubber hits the road when it comes to psychological flexibility. Because like on a nice day, when the wind is at your back, when the sun is shining and you're feeling pretty good about yourself, you're feeling pretty flexible, right? Folks, you ever have days like that where you kind of wake up and you got it, you're kind of on. And like maybe it's kind of like someone hit the easy button You know, like back in the day when we used to like go to work, you know, and like the light was green instead of red and stuff like that, you know, and you get into work and you're kind of flowing through your day, right? Well, on those days, you know, you just kind of cruise. You're like almost on autopilot.
Yeah.
It's on those days when you're not feeling it, when you're waking up and you got the I'm sick, or I'm in a crappy mood, or I don't want to go to work today, right? That's when having some psychological flexibility at your disposal really helps you out, right? So we go all the way back to what we're doing here is we're really bringing up a point of view for people to just step back and take some perspective on. And the Matrix has not been, nor has it ever been about leading anybody anywhere. But it's really about coming to the center. And because the Matrix at its heart is really a tool for promoting psychological flexibility. So now I'm going to go way back and way back when Kevin first developed the Matrix. So he was looking for a tool that would help promote psychological flexibility, folks. That was his impetus. That was what driving him. And then, you know, from his many hours of training and reading and thising and thatting, he all of a sudden he drew these cross lines one day, and voila, the Matrix was born. And in the very beginning, he didn't even have psychological flexibility in the middle. He just had the two cross lines. And he had 5 senses at the top, or 5 senses experiencing, we used to call it. And down at the bottom, we had mental experiencing. Okay. So that was the vertical line of the Matrix, which is the present moment awareness line, which is at the present moment, you can be noticing what's going on outside of you. And you can be noticing what's going on inside of you. And you can pretty much go back and forth between those two, right? I mean, you think about it, you know, we're born into the world and we start out by taking in the world with our 5 senses. And then later on, this thing called the mind shows up on the inside of us. And then the fun just continues for the rest of your life because you're going back and forth between noticing what's going on outside of you, hopefully, and what's going on inside of you, right? And that's just your present moment context. So, you know, what Kevin was playing with here is helping people to notice the difference between what's happening outside of themselves and what's going on the inside. And there is a difference. And we need to be able to kind of get into contact with both of those, right? I think about like, you know, back in the day when you would drive your car, well, that's a nice mix of both because, you know, you've got your destination in mind, right? That's in your head. You're not there yet, but you're going to need your 5 senses. You're going to be needing to pay attention to it. And along the way, you're kind of going back and forth, flexibly back and forth. So we want people to be able to kind of have access to both their internal and their external. So he was looking for a way to help people to notice that difference between the outside and the inside. So there's that vertical line, right? Then he drew that horizontal line, which is what we call the toward and the away line, or the behavior line. So and those arrows at the end, which we've already talked about, are, you know, everything you do in your life, you're doing to either move toward something or someone important to you, or you're doing it to move away from yucky, uncomfortable stuff that's showing up on the inside. You're going to do one or the other. So he wanted to come, part of this diagram is helping people to come into contact with, like, you know, where their actions were leading them, right? Both externally out there on the real world, and also we're doing actions on the inside. We're thinking, we're having me-to-me conversations. Anybody out there have any me-to-me conversations with yourself? I do all the time, right? And they're wonderful conversations that we have, right? And yeah, and then and Tina's written in satisfaction and relief, right? But we didn't even have all those up and down hours and stuff. And the satisfaction, it wasn't even there. It was just the 2 cross lines, and it was the toward and the away and the senses in the mind. That was it. There were no questions in the beginning, right? They weren't there in the beginning. The questions were introduced to help people to continue to make those discriminations. Okay. So later on, he layers in the questions, and the questions that we ask in the basic form of the Matrix are being asked to facilitate, okay, folks, what do you think those questions are being asked to facilitate? I'll ask you folks. And I've already told you. What are we trying to facilitate with those questions? And if nobody wants to weigh in, that's okay. I'll fill in the blank for you. I just figured someone might want to take a crack at it. All right, I'm going to give it to you. Psychological flexibility. All right. So it was a way to help people come to that present moment and continue to promote. There you go, Becky, you got it. Psychological flexibility, right? So that's really what those questions are all about, right? So from this point of view, from the point of view, the way that Kevin uses it and I use it and Tina uses it, everything we do when we're doing ACT matrix work is about bringing people to the center to help them to get them into contact so they can be noticing what's happening inside, outside, and just noticing, which is going to be promoting psychological flexibility, right? And really, we're just talking about the ability to stay connected, be in contact with the present moment, regardless of whether you've got yucky stuff showing up or cool stuff showing up. And then, not necessarily right here in the moment, but maybe later on, choosing behaviors to act on that are going to help you move to get you where you want to go is the way that I would say it. Okay. So just a little bit of history. So now I'm going to bring you up to the very first book that Kevin wrote, which, the first ACT matrix book, the first paragraph. Guess what Kevin says? He talks about the matrix as an interactive diagram for increasing what, folks? Psychological flexibility, right? So I want to bring that back because, we've been kind of on this for a long time. And I ran into Kevin and started work with him right before the matrix came into being. And I was probably one of the first humans to use it. And that has been the case all along. And what we're doing is you're stretching people out along that vertical line, right? By helping them come into better contact with what's happening outside of them, what's happening inside of them. And we've just did a little series here on matrix moments, right, Tina?
We did. Yeah.
And really, that whole series is about helping people to come into contact with to have a moment, to just have a moment, right? A non-judgmental noticing moment of what was going on outside of them and what was going on inside of them, and to really just be okay with just having that moment. So whenever we do matrix work, that's really what we're doing. We're people are in front of it and they're having a moment, and we're with them, having the moment with them, facilitating them having their moment, and not getting into it and adding more stuff into their moment, which is going to just bog the whole process down. So everything that we do, the first question, right, that we ask, who's important to you, right? Well, we want them to have that moment of noticing they're important people, right? And we start out that way because it's a nice, warm, inviting way to start out to engage somebody in the present moment, right?
And it doesn't stump people.
And people always can ask.
Everybody can answer it.
Everybody gets it right. There's no way to do it wrong.
Yeah.
There's no wrong.
It's just no wrong answer.
Yeah. And you're getting responses, folks, at the same time.
Yep.
So then, we go over to the yucky stuff. Now, if you listen to the language, every piece, every word is devoted to increasing psychological flexibility. What kinds of yucky stuff shows up? Right? That's said on purpose.
Up.
And we're doing that for a specific reason, right? Because, yucky stuff's going to show up, right? And we're really basically saying that in this moment, it's okay for you to notice your yucky stuff showing up.
Yeah.
It's fine.
What's up?
And then we just put it up on the board, right? And then the next thing we're going to do is, now we're going to bring them up into the land of behaviors, right? Because it's not just about one side of you. We stretch them up into the upper realms of what they're doing. So now we're going to bring into account, what the yuck stuff shows up. So now you can notice that. And again, not judgmentally, right? You're not doing that away move stuff to get away from your important people. That's not what this is about. You're only doing it to get away from that uncomfortable, yucky stuff that shows up on the inside of you.
Yep. And like Kimberly noticed earlier, they can be away moves and toward moves.
Yes.
They just are behaviors. They're just motor movements.
That's it. And all we're doing is noticing them. That's it. And again, we're noticing for the purposes of psychological flexibility. So now we're going to slide over to the toward side. And once again, those actions that are either real or maybe out there in the future are also meant to promote psychological flexibility, right? Because you're going to do something. After you have that moment, you're going to go off and do something. So the real key to this, folks, is we come back to center, right? We come right back to the center at this point after we get done. And then we add the noticing, right? That's the real pulling it all together moment. Because that's where we want to bring people right to the center so they can just be noticing. And they're just noticing all of this, and it's in the moment. It's non-judgmental, and nothing more needs to be done, right? Nothing more needs to be done. And they're just there with you, and they're taking in the field, okay? So even the words are really, the way that we look at it, it's content, right? That's meant to help people move into the process of psychological flexibility. Right. So all those quadrants, are the content and the words and the language that we're using to help people move into the process of noticing, to increase the chances that psychological flexibility will continue to manifest or will manifest if it's not there, so that people can now increase the chances that they can go out into the world, wherever they're going to go, and do whatever it is that they're going to do. We have no control over that. Once they leave your sight and my sight, your influence over them ends, which is why then the other thing that we add, if you'll notice the language, is we added the language of, do you think you might have an opportunity?
Yep.
Okay. So we're doing that because we're trying to pace people out into the future. We're bringing up this, someone else mentioned perspective taking, right? So this is all about perspective taking, to bring up that observer self, as we call it. I used to call it the me noticing when I was in school. The me and the kids used to, that's the me noticing, right? It's the you. It's the original you. That's just noticing, bringing up that perspective and that observer self. Because when you can do that, then, people can take what they already know, what they've already told you, they can take it and they can mix it up with their behaviors and go out there and try stuff out, which is exactly where we want them to be going. Now, reason why we get to this is the problem that we see often is folks get into thinking that there needs to be more. Okay. Yeah. That, for example, I've heard, well, we need to help people come up with more moves.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to say on that one, right? That's not what we're trying to do. Okay. Or we need to have people come up with toward moves.
Yes.
Another one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. No, that's not what this is about. We don't need to help people do more of anything or less of anything. We're just noticing. That's it. So all you're doing when you're doing ACT matrix work, because again, I keep coming back to it, and I'm doing this on purpose, is the target is right there in the middle. If you can keep coming back to the middle with folks, then folks will figure stuff out. They really will. I've seen it happen many, many times. I see it happen all the time, right? So that's a little clarification that sometimes people get stuck in. Another clarification is they can get stuck in value stuff down there in the lower right.
Yeah.
Okay. That we should be helping them either develop values or come into contact with their values, or, well, maybe even we're going to tell them a value.
Yeah.
Or two. Ooh. Yeah. No. That is, here's a word, antithetical to promoting any kind of psychological flexibility. Right? That would be the opposite of psychological flexibility, which would be psychological inflexibility.
Yes.
Which would be the quickest way to stop this process is to start telling people, what they might value or suggest things that they might value. There's all kind of little sneaky ways that, and you know, it just happen to anybody. You can find yourself doing that. You can find yourself thinking, boy, this person needs to be doing more of X or Y or Z. And before you know it, that word could slip out of your, but you know, that's why we keep coming to the center, because we also, while you're doing matrix work with other people, you may have noticed this, folks, you're also doing it on yourself. So every time you do this, you're giving yourself a dose of psychological flexibility. That's the way I look at it.
Yep.
Which is why Tina and I are always looking around
yourself
to show it to somebody, because we need we need as many doses of psychological flexibility as we can come up with.
Yes. Yes.
So that's part of this, folks, is that we want people, you want to be in the center. You want to keep bringing people back to the center very gently, using the noticing language, noticing the show up language. We're just bringing them back to the center. And, you know, we're not trying to lean on the away side, and we're not trying to lean on the toward side. We're just in the middle, hanging out with them, and just kind of being there with them is really what it comes down to. Letting them have their moment, because anything else that you add into their moment of noticing really destroys their moment, folks. It really does. It really messes up their moment. Okay. So, you know, and again, you know, it's this process. It's a process that ACT talks about. You know, they pull it all together, and Steve Hayes and Kelly Wilson and Kirk in the very original book pulled it all together with psychological flexibility. And then, you know, there was the old hexaflex, you know, committed actions, acceptance, diffusion, contact with the present moment, value stuff, self as context. We're not getting into any of that with the ACT matrix stuff. We just promote psychological flexibility and noticing. That's really at the heart of any kind of matrix work that you're going to be doing, either with an individual, same thing with a group, you know, because it will be the group that will learn the same way that the individual learns what works. Well, that group has to do the same thing. Group is going to be learning what works for that particular group.
And I think Friday's webinar is about the pro-social matrix.
And that's exactly why we do that one, right? So, so
I'm going to add work in here.
Yeah. So if you go back and you watch with some of the stuff that we've done recently, if you want to go back, we talked about, you know, not away from values, away from yucky stuff, right? On that one.
Away from yucky stuff.
Right? Away from yucky stuff, not away from values.
Not away from values.
Don't confuse the two. One has nothing to do with the others. And then, you know, we did some matrix moments lately. So the idea about coming right to the middle, right in the middle of the center of the diagram, that vertical line right there, 5 senses in mind, helping people, helping yourself to just have your moment, right? And then today, you know, we wanted to extend that further because, you know, the moment is for psychological flexibility. So whenever anybody asks us what we do, that's what I tell them. Well, we're just here to promote some psychological flexibility.
And people often, you know, especially in the behavior analysis world, they want to use ACT, and they say, I want to use ACT with my clients. How do I do it? And it's not about using ACT or using the matrix with your clients just for the simple fact of using it. It's about, well, what is the skill that you're attempting to target? Just like if you wanted to target reading or math or learning to ride a bike, you match the process, which is the ACT matrix, to the skill. So if you're going to use ACT, it's because you want to target psychological flexibility. Yep. If you want to teach somebody how to live a more valued life, that's not ACT or the matrix. If you want to teach somebody diffusion or acceptance or things like that, that's not what it's about.
Certainly can go and do that.
You could.
That would not be the ACT matrix, because if anybody asked that question, I'd say, well, I would start by asking them who's important.
Yep.
And right there, folks, I am beginning the process.
And the target is psychological flexibility.
And it will help you out in whatever you do, because it just makes it simpler for you. I mean, that was the great thing that Kevin did years ago, is he came up with a program that you could take and use, and you can take this diagram and use it anywhere you go. I mean, it's very portable.
Yeah.
I mean, I've taught young people how to do it, old people how to do it. It doesn't really matter. Everybody seems to get it because it's simple. And then after they do it, they'll look back at you and they'll say, "Oh, that makes sense."
Yeah. Yeah.
Tina, everybody see that too? Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
I kind of get that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you've established a way that whatever you're doing out there that you can use to work with people. And it's very collaborative.
Yep.
We are not getting into anybody's stuff here. That's not what this is about. And basically everything that's up there it belongs to the individual. It's not yours.
Nope.
Not mine. I am not going to mess with it. And that's not what the purpose of this is for.
Yep.
The purpose is, if you go all the way back to ACT and what we talk about the fact that, people aren't broken, that they have resources, they have skills, they've got themselves into your room, wherever they're at, or you're with this organization. So there's a lot of resources there that we want to help them access what they already know. And again, that's back to one of our little mantras we've been using lately, helping people take what you already know and apply it to, well, whatever it is that you want to apply it to.
Yeah.
And that's the freely chosen part.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be getting into values because values are freely chosen. And that would mean chosen by who?
Yeah.
Not by me.
And who gets to say that I need different values, or
and
better values, or more values, or no?
Yeah. And you can see how quickly judgment comes into it.
Yep.
Very quickly, which is going to slow the process down. So that's it. That's what we wanted to do today. That is the target. The ACT matrix is for psychological flexibility. That is your takeaway. And I think that's pretty much what we wanted to do today.
Yeah. And it's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
You just got to do it.
And you can't tell anybody about it. You can't hand them a manual.
Nope.
They got to get on the bike.
Got to get on the bike. And then, like Phil said earlier, each time I do it with somebody, each time I present it, each time I talk to somebody about it, I give myself a dose of psychological flexibility, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And that's something else that Tina's bringing up is, you could do this more than once, folks. It's not like you just do it once and there's an epiphany and the sky opens up. This is a process. This is like you're teaching people a process that the cool thing about this is that they can take it and use it. They don't need us at some point. They just get to that point where they're just doing it. Yeah. It shows up, as we say, it shows up.
Yep. It just shows up. And they might come back and tell you the cool stuff that shows up. And that's cool too.
That's the best part, when they come back and tell you about stuff that they noticed.
And the more you do it, the more you might notice cool stuff too.
Oh, things get very interesting, folks.
They do.
They really yes. And then the fix is in, just like you heard Tina. Next thing you know, you're out there, looking for opportunities.
Yep. Yeah. Where will it show up?
Where will it show up?
Well, thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks for attending, and thanks for joining us today. And if you're watching on the recording, check it out. Don't forget, if you're interested in ACT Matrix certification, click below. Or swag.
Or water bottles. There's a water bottle there. There's
very cool water bottle.
Cool stuff. Yeah. I also put
very good, Kimberly.
Cool. Yeah, you missed days. I agree. I noticed. Yeah. And that Google Doc link that I put there, that's the one, Phil, that Kevin made for the Hexaflex Made Easy, where we kind of wrote out some stuff. And it's relevant to what we talked about today. So if you guys want to grab that, it's a published.
Check that out. Kevin came up with that a little while ago. A very handy little document. It's there all the time. So even if you can't copy it now, come back later on and it's there on the recording.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. See you soon.
All right. We'll see you. Take care. Bye-bye. Take care, Tina. Have a good day.
You too.
Now we got to turn this.